Good morning, everybody. The theme for today is the mainstreaming sustainability in business planning and practices. Now, it just takes me back to when I was a child, and one of the first poetry which we learned, that east is east and west is west, and never the twain shall meet. So it was written at a particular given point of time where it was not being system, the whole universe or whole earth was not looked as a system, as a unit. But the things have changed now. Similarly, recently one of the Indian authors has written a trilogy on Shiva, which is very popular. I went through the whole 3 volumes, and it added one more dimension, that what is good today turns out to be bad, and what is bad today turns out to be good. So this cycle goes on, whether it is food or the power or any such type of thing. In earlier times, we used to think coal, very important. Later on, we realized, okay, we are doing power generation, but it brings its own challenges. Industrialization, which was very good, but it brings its own challenges. And we have to look at it in a holistic way. I went through various definitions available for sustainable development. But the most frequently used definition, and also which is very simplistic, I could dig out from our common feature, a UN report of 1987, which says that sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So the time, it's a dimension which has been added by all of us, and we do not live only for today, but we have to think about how the whole industry, the power system, the development, social, economic, food-wise, technology-wise, how 50 years down the line, 100 years down the line, our own grandchildren, great-grandchildren are going to be living in the same Earth planet. So what I said that we have to have a whole world should be seen as one system. The pollution created in a developed nation affects the people of Asia, and it's vice versa also. Problems faced by us today are complex and senior, and we cannot address them in isolation. Now, energy, because earlier the speaker also was from energy sector, and I am also from power sector, which is a part of the whole energy sector. It is central to sustainable development. And it affects all aspects of development, be it social, economical, environmental, including water access, agriculture productivity, health, education, etc. Now, according to the United Nations, key to achieving its Millennium Development Goals is to improve quality and quantity of energy services in developing countries. And last year, 2012 was celebrated as International Year of Sustainable Energy for All, to encourage awareness of importance of emerging energy issues. Now, as per the statistics, 20% people in the world still lack access to energy. About 3 billion people still rely on wood, charcoal, animal waste for cooking and heating. Now in India, the government of India started one RGGVY, that is Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutkaran Yojana, which has helped to increase the village electrification in India from 80% in FY07 to around 95% today. But first thing is that we have created the wires, etc. Now they have to be electrified also, which we in India are facing a lot of challenges because we have been heavily dependent on the fossil fuel. Gas availability is not there today. I mean, a lot of gas plants have come up. They are idling for supply of gas. And coal, we have seen there has been a serious supply. There is hardly 70% supply is not sustainable as on today. So these are the challenges which the Indian power sector is facing. And we also know that 30% population still lacks access to electricity. Now, the needs of the developed nations and developing nations are different. In industrialized countries, energy problem is of waste and pollution, not of energy shortage. Developing nations are facing the energy shortage, and which is affecting all the parameters which I said earlier. Now, key to address both the above problems is sustainable development for all, that we have to provide accessible, cleaner and more efficient energy. While the developed nations are investing and should also continue to invest in efficient and more clean technologies, the developing countries need to expand their access to reliable and modern sources of energy. Lot of effort has been made by TERI and other people by taking this solar lantern to the remotest areas where they did not see the electricity as such, and the lives are changing of these people. Now, we have to ensure that energy security requires diversification of sources of energy using domestic potential and regional energy trade. See, when PTC was formed, we saw that India, the planning was done region-wise. There were 5 electricity regions and everyone was working on a standalone mode. Through a trading mechanism we set up in the last 12-13 years, now India is seen as an integrated, the planning has been done keeping India, the nation as a whole, whether it is transmission, national grid or generation or the distributions also, things are happening. Now we have to expand this to the region. Nepal, Bhutan, which are in the northern part, are rich in hydro. Pakistan and Bangladesh have their own needs, but they have also gas reserves. So if we see it as an integrated area, 4 or 5 nations together, and start trading amongst each other, that will lead to optimal use capacity utilization, so that there will not be much wastage. It's not that capacities are idle somewhere and more capacities are being added other place because there is no grid connectivity, etc., which we have been doing. Just recently we commissioned Bangladesh also, now it's become grid connected to India, and there is a demand from Pakistan also to do the same, which are being examined. Now, use of, I need not say that, the whole world knows that use of renewable energy has to be encouraged. It is slightly expensive today, and when I am saying unreliable, what my earlier speaker said, that wind, suppose it peaks at certain point of time, solar is available for a certain amount of time. How do we ensure that 24% round the clock power can be supplied? And where he suggested that gas-based or hydro-based peaking stations can be put to use in combination with the renewable energy, which is being heavily discussed and implemented also at the national level. This would require strengthening policy and institutional frameworks. Now, in earlier times, India didn't have a separate ministry, but for quite so many years now, we have a Ministry of New and Renewable Energy for this specific purpose. And for the solar, there was national level missions such as Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, which has done really good job for the solar capacity addition in the country. Like the last reported figure is already shows that we have already added 1800 megawatt of solar, and by the next year end we should be touching that 2400 megawatt, and by 2020 the target is to reach that to 20,000 megawatt of solar power. Several states, because in India it's a concurrent subject, center can make the policies but implementation is done by the states, and there is a regulatory mechanism to ensure that. So many of the states have also come out with progressive solar policy, and that's the reason we can see more and more solar plants becoming viable. And distributed generation of solar power has helped in access of power to remote areas, and it has added several hours to useful life of people every day. When we went to places in Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, etc., there are so many areas, hill councils are there. It's not necessary that we have to take the grid, all the transmission lines to that places. Through these solar power, if we utilize it properly and backed up with the other sources of power, we can start providing power to them maybe 5 to 7 years down the line. Now, India, because of its huge needs and the huge population which is there, we have to institutionalize developmental development schemes like solar lantern rooftop is also necessary, and as are large solar plants also of a 5 megawatt, 10 megawatt capacity. So everything has to go on simultaneously. We require both of them. Similarly, SOPs and incentives like accelerated depreciation and generation-based incentives are also required for other forms of renewable energy as well. Now, grid parity of regional electricity power, renewable energy power with conventional power is still a major issue, and government should not only provide subsidy but should take also initiatives and encourage innovations to bring down capex involved in RE projects. We have done a lot for the energy efficiency, but still a lot can be done. Now, everyone knows that energy saved is energy produced. We introduced a perform, achieve and trade scheme, PAT scheme it is known as, incentive for using energy efficiently. More than 700 industrial units have been identified, and 9 sector industries have been identified for involving these. They cover steel, cement, thermal plants, fertilizer, aluminium, chloroalkali, pulp and paper, textiles, and railway also. So there is a scheme, but implementation is a big challenge, and more policy clarity is required there. We also are totally aware about green rating, the Graha scheme which has been doing well, the rating tool to assess performance of buildings against national benchmarks. Now, though it is mandatory for all central government buildings, PSCs to meet at least Graha 3-star rating requirements and aim to reach Graha 4-star rating. So that is the policy, but implementation has its own challenges which we are trying to sort out. Now, similarly, appliances standard and labeling program by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. It worked out well for the air conditioners and refrigerator. Now, large window products are yet to be covered. There was also energy saving concept, ESCO mechanism, but not much attention has been drawn on the financing part of ESCO model for energy efficiency. We believe, just like we had a green fund, MNRE has created a green fund where 1800 crore Indian crore rupees support, budgetary support has been given by Government of India, and which is being managed by the solar corporate SECI, which has been created, Solar Energy Corporation of India, which is going to manage, and through that the Ministry of MNRE wants to do is the viability gap funding. It is being debated how best we can do that, but that is the way the government has thought about green fund. Similar type of thing we will have to think about some fund which will support the ESCO, because the banks, the financial closures are not taking place. Banks say that okay, energy saving certificate etc., but only when you achieve this benchmark, whether you will be able to achieve the benchmark, what is going to be saving. So because of cash flow uncertainty, the financings are not taking place, and we have to think about innovative financing model to ensure that this can be done. Now, a nodal agency may be similarly appointed by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and pilot projects should be carried out with government funding to show efficacy of such energy efficiency solution. Just before this, we had an executive council meet. We were discussing that why can't we take the Prime Minister's office or the South Block as such, or the Prime Minister's residence, to make it a model case to do such type of thing. We'll debate more on it. The report which we had seen, the World Bank report, had emphasized that business sustainability is a three-legged stool of people, planet, and profit. Now, clean tech product market is supposed to be reaching 1.6 trillion US dollar by 2020. This is as per the McKinsey report. And people at the bottom of pyramid, earning less than US dollar 3,000 a year, embody a global market of more than US dollar 5 trillion. This is as per World Resources Institute. Hence, even the size of sustainability market is not something that can be just ignored. In India, the new Companies Act which has become operational, it has also mandates expenditure on CSR activities by private sector players too, that 2% of the profit. How, etc., is being discussed and debated. Various surveys have proved that though businesses are engaging in sustainability initiative, there is a lack of emphasis on social sustainability. This could be perhaps because of lack of well-established metrics for social sustainability. Now, we had discussed in the opening remarks, Deepankar talked about ROI. Now that has to be, the ROI definition needs to be expanded when it comes to sustainability, so that managing risk, building its brand and investing in future products and services has to form a part of the definition now. And nothing is sustainable. The business will get into that when it sees a value coming back from that. So we have to have a sustainability. Corporates, larger corporates have to come out with their sustainability vision and set then goals and priorities that meet both sustainability as well as business objectives. So you need to have vision, you need to define values, the rules, etc. Then you need to also have the program, how you are going to achieve that, and then whether it is scalable or not. So scale is also becomes very important, and the accountability. So only when the circuit gets completed in a corporate this thing, then there will be more and more spending on these CSR, etc., which will take care of it. With this, I just conclude. Thank you very much.